REST API service. If you want to render any service to the third party systems, if you want to render any service to the third party system, then we are supposed to define web service calls. That web service can be defined in two formats. One by using a SOAP API, other one by using a REST API. If you want to define a service using a REST API, how will you define it? Is the first question. Now, before we actually get into the services of defining REST API, we need to understand two classes here. One is a REST request, other one is a REST response. What is a REST context? REST request, REST response, and we need to understand REST context. When you say REST context, as you already seen a basic level example in the last class, so let us get in. This is your Salesforce organization. Right. Now, you are providing a service. I am providing a service. I am providing a service. If somebody from the third party system, when I say a user or a third party system or user, when he is making a request to my resource, he is giving a URL and saying, boss, I want the following resource. Now, the request and response, what is happening here is called REST context. He is making a REST request. Why? Because he is not calling my class, he is calling my URL. If you want to access any Apex class, how do you access? Class name, object equal to new class name, the constructor format. Very good call. But here, I am not invoking a class with respect to the object. I am invoking a class with respect to URL. So it is a REST context. With respect to the REST context, I am making a request and getting a response. Now, with respect to this REST context, what is the request we received? What is the response I have to give? What is the request I received? What is the response I have to give? So, we have REST context class. The class contains REST request and REST response object. What it has? Request object and response object. Now, what is the request object? What is the request we received from the third party? That is called REST request. What is the response we are going to return? It is given as REST response. So here, when you are taking this, if you are requesting any information, is requesting a service. The requested service is available to me in the form of whatever the request you are sending, that will come to me as a REST request. Then I will analyze this REST request. What is the URL to which you sent? From which IP address you have sent? What is the data you are passing? What exactly you are looking? I will understand or analyze your request. What are the parameters you kept in the header? What are the header elements you are giving? What is the body you are giving? I will take the request parameters, understand your request, process it. Then I want to give a response. Then what I will do? I want to give a response. Whatever the response I want to give, whatever the result I want to give, this is converted in the form of REST response. And this REST response I am going to give to third party. So what are the objects that are involved here? REST request, REST response. Where are these REST request and response? With respect to the REST context, with respect to the REST API, with respect to the context of REST API, what is the request object? What is the response object? They are available to me in the class called REST context class. I hope you are good with this. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Clear for everyone? Now, let me give you basic information here. And in your hard copies, this notes is not available. What I am discussing now, it is not available on your hard copies. This is a standard class. Now, this is a standard class, but this is defined where? This is defined under what namespace? Under the namespace of system. It is a standard Apex class defined in the Salesforce under the namespace of system. This class contain request objects. This class contain REST request and REST response objects. Is defined under the this class contains all the request message. Now, what are the methods we have in this? What are the methods we have? System dot REST request. Data. See. No. What are the methods we had? First, we'll start with header. What is the header? What is the header we are going to get? Now, generally, what we are going to put in the header? Content type, accept, language, encoding, session, header, cache. Okay, all these are the elements which you are going to put in the header. So, if any header elements are put in the request, the data I can fetch here. First one is what this header will contain. This will contain all the header elements defined in header of the it is in the form of map. Now, it will have the header. Similarly, we have body. header body. When you're going for a body, request body. What was that? Request body. When it's a request body, this will contain the body what is sent in the this will contain body. This will contain the body what is there in the request method. Request body. This will contain the body what is sent in the request. Request body. It is in the form of what? Blob. It is in the form of what? Blob. It is form of in the form of blob. Request body. This will contain the data which is passed in the body of HTTP request. Header body. Then request URI. Request URI. This is the endpoint URL to which request is made. Now it is a string. If it is a string, we can apply all the string functionalities. Get the second index, get the third index, get the capital, get the small, get with the second occurrence, get with the third occurrence, convert into lowercase, convert into uppercase. Whatever the string functionalities are there, we can apply that. So syntax. Request URI. Then we're going with the next one. Request URI. Then we want to get the parameters. We want to get the parameters. Okay, look at the point. Request URI is going to be the complete path. Request URI is going to be the complete path. When you say request path, resource path, let me give you this. You need to understand the difference between these two. If this is the URL, services slash apex slash account. Now I'm going to resource path. What is the resource path? Now, what is the resource path? Services slash apex. Now when you say, look at the point. When you say requested URI, this is the complete. Right. Then rest path of the request. When you say resource path, okay, resource path, only it is going to give you what? Path of the resource. What was that? If this is my okay, this is my resource, then what is that? Services slash apex slash my resource. Entire URL or only path? Entire URL or only path? Now if you look at this, resource path. Now this is the resource. This is the endpoint URL. That is the endpoint URL. When you say resource path, only we are going to get this one. Right, boss? Now, last, our main important point, params. What is this params? This will contain the parameters which are passed in the URL. This will contain which are passed is in the form of it is in the form of map. Next, we have what is the method? HTTP method, request method. What is the next one we had? What is the request method we had? HTTP method. HTTP method. What type of request you made? HTTP method. What type of request you made? Something. Now, what is the purpose of going for this? Why I was suddenly giving this topic called request context, REST context? Now, in the last class, we already seen if you want to define a REST API service, how do you define? If you want to define a REST API service, first you are supposed to define at the rate of URL mapping, sorry, at the rate of REST resource URL mapping, my contact. Now I gave URL mapping. So what was this? This is the resource path. It is the resource path. If you want to invoke, you have to give services slash apex rest slash my contact. And there may be a possibility of you passing the parameters also. There is a reason we give star. The purpose of giving the star is when you are making a request as a get, if you want to pass any data, you will be passing in the URL. There is a reason I am not sure whether you are going to pass anything after the my contact or not. There is a reason I give slash star. If it's a get method, I may pass some parameter. If it's a post, I may not pass. Now depends upon the context. I may or may not pass. So I give slash star. You can give a number of parameters or 0 parameters. Then anything that you define as a REST, there has to be what? Global. Now I am giving at the rate of HTTP post. I give HTTP post. Global string invoke string last name I give this data. Now what I am doing, I was supposed to return the value in the form of string. Which string? JSON string I want to return. Now if the contact may be successfully inserted, contact may not be successfully inserted. Now why I was giving a parameters here? Now post method will have header and body. Post method will have header and body. Post method will have header and body. As the post method has a header and body, now if it has a body, the data in the body I can pass as a parameter. The data in the body I can pass like a parameter. Data in the body I can pass like a parameter. So whatever the parameters I am giving, that you are supposed to pass using a body. Okay. Now I am giving. What was that? System dot is equal to create generator. Now what was that? JS dot right. Write a start object, write a end object, convert them into string. basic structure. I am giving a try. The try. Contact dot last name. Contact may be inserted, may not be inserted. I am not sure. If it is inserted, I am giving js dot. Then I am giving con dot id. Now, if it is a fail, then I'm going to give js dot. Then I can give e dot get type of error base. So finally, what you are trying to convey, I'm going to give you a string message. What is that JSON message I'm going to give? If it is successful, you'll get a success message. Error, we are going to get an error message. Now, this is the request what I created. This is the service what I want to give. Now, if you define at the data of HTTP post, it's a REST context. Request what we received, response what we received. Now, I want to. Everyone has got this concept. Everybody is good with this, right? So, what is the data we are passing here? This has to be passed like a body. Now, let us see. Going to workbench. Text Explorer. Services slash Apex REST slash. What type of method is this? Post. Because I told my service is post. Because I told service is post, you are supposed to make a request using post. Now, what is the data you are expecting? I have to verify the syntactical format. F small 4. Now, in the body, I am passing this. This data will go to the method as a parameter. The parameter gave first name, last name, 4 that I am passing here as a string. Now, what is the requested body? The request body is in the form of blob. The blob is nothing but string converted. Now, look at this. Now, we give last name, first name, 4. Let out execute. What is the message we received? Status, success, ID of the record. So, if it is a post method, what is the response we received? HTTP 1.1, status OK, Then these all are what? Header. We have done a lot of examples to see this header. Strict transport, X content type, access, content security, robust cache. These all are header parts. These all are header parts. This is the body part. Now, what we have done in this case, I made a request to third party, then I'm getting the data. Similarly, somebody is making a request to Salesforce, then what is the operation you want to perform? What is the response you want to give? The response is given in the form of what? JSON. If it is a HTTP post, whatever the data I'm expecting the data in the form of body. If I want any data in the form of body, that I will be taking in the post method as a parameter. Are you getting my point here? So how are you taking this data in the form of parameter? Because post has a header and body. The same request I want to make using get method. Global static. Now, as it doesn't have any header, it doesn't have any body, no parameters. It doesn't have any body, no parameters. Then how do you take the data? Now this process is not changing. Creation of record will not change, but only what will change? How do you take the data of last name, first name, phone from URL is what going to change. Creation of account will not, creation of contact will not change. Then what I'm going to do? Then I'm taking REST request equal to, from the REST context, what is the request message we received that I have taken. From this message, what we have? Request dot request dot params. So what are all the parameters you pass in the URL that I have taken? Then I am taking it. String last name equal to inputs dot get off. It is in the form of map. This is how I take it. Now, as it is a one basic format is missing. What is the basic format? This is the basic format. No. Now, because it is a get method, there is no body. As there is no body, I was supposed to pass the parameters using URL. Any parameters that you pass using URL, that will be in REST request params. So request dot params, we are getting the data in the form of map. So last name, first name, phone. I hope you are good with this. People are good. People have followed this. This program did change. Program didn't change. Only the format how you are passing your inputs have changed. If it is a post, you are passing the inputs in the method as a parameter. If it is a get, you are passing the parameters in the form of a parameters in the URL. If it is a URL, REST request dot params, then params dot get off key. I hope you are good with this. Then if you want to make this request, how do you make this request? I have to make it as a get method, question mark. I give my data. We are passing the parameters in the URL because it doesn't have any body. It doesn't have any body. We are passing the data in the URL. Click on execute. This is how we receive. I hope you are good. So if it is a post, in the method I can pass them like a parameter. If it is a get, I have to pass the data in the URL. I hope you are good with this format. So how you define a REST API service? At the rate of REST resource. At the rate of REST resource. At the rate of REST resource. URL mapping, my contact. URL mapping, my contact. URL mapping, my contact. This is the name of the resource. Then in the class we can have only one post method. We can have only one get method. We can have only one put method and everything. Now I am giving at the rate of HTTP. Now if you look at this, same program, get and post, I have not changed anything in the program. I am not changing anything in the program. No change in the program. Now look at the format. What type of methods we have here? Delete, get, head, patch, post, put. Now what I am doing here? At the rate of HTTP, my info. What was this? We can take then what I was doing is now I gave HTTP delete. HTTP delete. I gave HTTP delete. When you go to HTTP delete, let us see. We have delete. When you say delete, are you getting any body here? When you say delete, are you getting any body here? You are not getting any body. I had to give record is deleted successfully. Now go to reset event and make it. So if you are going for a delete method, do you have any header? Do you have any body? There is no body. Every data you want to pass should be passed using URL only. So we have post, get, delete. These are the three major uses. We can have a put, but most of the time we don't use put. We'll use only post. Okay, in place of put, we can also use post. Okay. Now this is the format in which I am giving the request here. I hope you are good with this format. Clear for everyone?
Hello. Yeah, sir. Just 1 minute. Post. Can you just tell me just quickly post method?
What do you want?
Just post request. I want more explanation. Means, can you just repeat in? I have understood get and all. Post. I just want if you can explain post request, HTTP post.
Now when you go to the post, what will be the
Oh,
post method? It will have head and body. Post will have head and body. Any data that you want to send, that we have to put it in the body and send it. Any data you are setting in the body, that will be received in the form of parameters here. Post will have, in the post, any data you want to send, that has to be in the form of body. Any data you want to send in the post method, it has to be in the body. So if it has to be in the body, then I'm taking that body as a parameters here. Now when you say post method, any data you want to send, it has to be sent in the form of body. Any data you want to send, it has to be sent in the body. In the body, what are the parameters you are passing? This, what is the data you are passing? Key value pair. The keys will become parameter of the method. The keys will become parameter of the method. So it's a post will have body. Any data that you are sending as a body that will be received in the post method as a parameters. So whatever the last time, first time I received there, I received like a parameters and I'm using it. It is a regular method with the parameters. It is a regular method with the parameters. Whatever you send in the body, that will be received here like a parameter, right? Because the post method has head and body, whereas the get and delete doesn't have bodies. So we are passing the data in the URL. I hope you are good.
So how, yeah, how invoke method, how it comes to know that we are from where we are calling this invoke method? It will call automatically.
First thing you need to understand, you are not service consumer, you are a service provider.
Okay.
Second thing you have to understand, it is you who wrote the program, it is not the system.
Hmm.
Without you understanding what you require, how you are writing a program, now I am giving here, you are a service provider. To demonstrate how it is working, I am calling from XYZ and showing you. But what is this? It is a service provider. You are providing, third party is going to call. What you want to provide, you should have a clarity on it. What data you want, by taking this data, what you want to perform, what is the response you want to give, you have to decide, then you write a service. Now, why did I show this? Why did I show this? I am showing you that service is called by third party people like this. This is not a Salesforce application, it is a PHP application. From PHP, I am calling the service which is defined in the Salesforce, and I am showing how the response will come. But you will not do this. This is a testing process. But what you are supposed to do, this is only the service what you are defining. This is what the concept we are learning. That is only for testing whether this is working fine or not, whether the service is coming or not. Why? Because if you understand that when you are consuming somebody request also, you know how you have to pass. Why we are testing?
Okay.
Why you are testing? Now when testing, now if you are expecting some data as a parameter, how the people are passing. If you understand that, when you are requesting a service from somebody else, we also know how to pass. That is the reason I have given this two views. Right, boss? I hope you are good with this. Right? Everybody is good? Okay. Now let us go to one quick example. Everybody start building this example. People have watched the movie like, now start creating the program. Now I have a get method. In the get method, the people are going to pass industry name. I need a method, create a REST API service. Which will take industry as parameter. This service will fetch all the accounts whose industry is matching. Return the result. How my result should be there? What are the names we found? Name of the accounts. What are the name of the accounts that are found? After writing a query, pass the names of the accounts. Like this we have to give. This output. Method should be get method. The REST service should be get. Create a REST API service with the HTTP method get, which will take the industry as input. Based on the industry value what you entered, write a SQL query, get the accounts, and return the result in this format.